The silence was never abandonment. It was preparation. Many times, the chosen ones mistaked the quiet seasons of life as if they have been forsaken or overlooked. When doors do not open, when prayers seem to echo without response, and when progress appears delayed, the natural assumption is that God has turned away or left them behind. Yet, what truly unfolds in those moments is a deep, divine process of refinement that cannot be rushed or seen at surface level. Silence is not the absence of God's activity. It is the sacred covering of His work. It is the stage where unseen growth is taking place, where roots are being driven deep into the ground before the branches are revealed. Just like a seed that sits buried in the dark soil, it looks still and lifeless to those who pass by. But underneath the surface, an entire transformation is unfolding. That seed is stretching, cracking, and preparing to push upward, but to the naked eye, nothing seems to be happening. The chosen ones are much like that seed, hidden for a time, seemingly forgotten, but actually being strengthened in the depths of silence so that they can withstand. God strips away distractions, noise, and false attachments, because what He is preparing cannot be carried with unnecessary baggage. There are lessons only learned in stillness, resilience only built in waiting, and clarity only gained when everything else fades. When people walk away and voices grow distant, it is not punishment but positioning. The chosen ones must come to understand that the silence is a classroom, not a graveyard. It is a place where patience is tested, trust is purified, and faith is stretched beyond what comfort could ever allow. God uses these moments to shape character, to refine motives, and to ensure that when elevation comes, it is not wasted or corrupted. Without preparation, blessing becomes a burden, and promotion can destroy more than it builds. That is why the chosen ones cannot skip the silence. The preparation, hidden in stillness, also protects the chosen ones from premature exposure. If the blessing arrives too early, before the foundation is strong enough, it can collapse under pressure. The silence is God's mercy, shielding them from opportunities they are not ready for, and from battles they have not been equipped to fight yet. What feels like delay is actually divine timing, orchestrated so that everything aligns perfectly. Those watching from the outside may interpret the lack of visible movement as abandonment, but they cannot see the invisible work being woven together behind the veil. They may whisper that the chosen one has failed, that nothing will come from their life, that their time has passed. Yet God allows this misinterpretation because it ensures that when the breakthrough comes, the impact will be undeniable. The chosen ones will rise, not because they pushed their way through in haste, but because the preparation of silence made them unshakable when the moment of revealing finally arrived. Those who counted you out will witness God's unexpected move. There have always been people who watch your life with a sense of superiority, believing that your setbacks define your story and that your delays are proof of defeat. They whisper behind closed doors, pointing at your struggles as if they are permanent markers of your worth. They assume your silence means surrender, your battles mean loss, and your waiting means failure. But what they cannot see is the God who specializes in turning impossibilities into testimonies. The God who allows the darkest night so the brilliance of His light can shock those who doubted you. When people count you out, they do so based on the surface, on what their eyes can measure, on what their limited perspective allows them to see. They do not understand the depth of God's plans or the magnitude of His timing, and so their judgment falls short of the reality that is about to unfold. God's unexpected moves have always been His way of reminding the world that He alone writes the story of the chosen ones. Just as He lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace in a single day, or raised David from the shepherd's field to the throne no one thought he deserved. He moves in ways that no human calculation can predict. Those who laughed at Joseph, who scorned David, or who doubted Esther could never have imagined how quickly God would turn the tables. The chosen ones carry that same anointing, the same unexplainable favor that takes them from overlooked to undeniable. It is precisely when people believe your journey is finished that God steps in to rewrite the ending in a way that no one saw coming. The shock is necessary because it humbles those who exalted themselves over you and mocked what they did not understand. It reminds the world that God's power cannot be contained by human expectation. Every delay, every season of silence, every trial that seemed to weaken you was in fact part of the setup for the unveiling. Those who once spoke against you will have no choice but to witness the transformation with their own eyes. They will see doors open that they swore would remain shut, opportunities fall into place that they thought were impossible, and blessings flow in abundance that they believed you would never touch. Their disbelief will become your confirmation. This unexpected move is not just about vindication, but revelation. God uses it to show His sovereignty, to prove that He is the one who exalts and establishes. The very people who counted you out become witnesses to the manifestation of promises that had been hidden for a season. They will see that the rejection was only redirection, that the losses were only lessons, and that the setbacks were actually setups. What looked like an ending was simply the pause before an unveiling so divine that even your critics will have to acknowledge it was God's hand all along. Being hidden was part of God's positioning for your rise. The chosen ones often mistake hidden seasons as punishment or rejection, when in reality it is divine strategy. There is a sacred purpose in being unseen, in being overlooked, and in being kept away from the spotlight. God hides what is valuable until the right moment. Just as precious treasures are buried deep in the earth until the time comes for them to be revealed. Diamonds are formed in darkness and pressure. Gold is refined in fire, and seeds are buried before they sprout. In the same way, God keeps His chosen ones concealed. Being hidden protects you from premature exposure, from people who would mishandle your gift, and from environments that could crush what has not yet matured. The hidden season is where God develops resilience, strength, and wisdom. When no one else is watching, He is training you to stand firm, to trust His voice above all others, and to prepare for responsibilities greater than what your present situation suggests. Every unnoticed effort, every unseen tear, and every prayer whispered in silence is a part of this preparation. God knows that the higher the calling, the stronger the foundation must be. And so He allows you to be hidden until that foundation is unshakable. Those who seem to rise quickly without being hidden often collapse just as quickly, because they were exposed before their roots were deep enough to sustain them. Your hidden season, though painful and misunderstood, has been your protection against this kind of collapse. There are people who assumed that your absence from the spotlight meant failure, that your quietness meant insignificance, or that your lack of recognition meant you had nothing to offer. Yet what they could not see was that God was positioning you away from the noise so that you would not be tainted by the distractions or destroyed by envy. He placed you in environments where you could learn what you needed, even when it felt like isolation. Every hidden moment was not wasted. It was the soil for your growth, the shield for your preparation, and the training ground for your destiny. When God finally reveals what He has been building in you, it will not just be for your benefit, but for the testimony of His glory. People will look at your rise and wonder how they missed you, how someone they overlooked could suddenly emerge with such power, wisdom, and influence. That is the beauty of God's strategy. He does not reveal His chosen ones until the moment when their appearance will have the greatest impact. What once felt like rejection will be seen as protection. What once felt like delay will be revealed as divine timing. And those who never saw you coming will have no choice but to witness the greatness God has placed upon you, proving that the hidden season was not wasted. It was positioning all along.